galactic calendar, 7413.16. 9 Location, Astronine P Station, Orbital Delta Belt Commander, Rix Garrow, in the metal corridors of a 9 station. Only one sentence ran through his mind. If peace isn't achieved this time, this war will engulf the entire Strip Delta galaxy belt. His feet were pressed against the automatic door, the voices of those inside silenced. Rix took a deep breath. He wasn't a diplomat, he was a soldier. But today, his uniform was neat. He had to be so careful. The doors slid open. In the room were beings from 2 different worlds. Rix had a team, ambassadors, protocol officers, and an AI translator. On the other side was the Valkyrie delegation. Their bioluminescent skins swayed slightly, flickering like traced ghosts. In the center was her, Queen Zara, her blue skin, 3-eyed face, an elegant yet thorny crown that reached down to her back, were a perfect blend of solemnity and seriousness. "Commander Garrow," Zara said, her voice shifting to a clear yet metallic tone through the interpreter. "We come in peace, but I am in distrust." Rix met her without moving. With a brief smile, she replied, "Excellent. I worked the same way." There was one of those inevitable creases that crossed the Queen's eyebrow. Did she laugh, or did I just raise an eyebrow? This was the first contact. A joke at this first contact would likely have been on her criminal record by the Galactic Protocol Board. But she couldn't suppress her impulses. The rest of the ceremony was formally dull. Diplomatic texts were read, token gifts were exchanged, such as a package of man-made Java blend coffee and a comprehensive algae crystal from the Valkyrie, before retiring to the meeting rooms. Zara approached Rix. His body language was defensive, but there was a hint of curiosity in his eyes. "I'm curious about something," Rix continued. "You may ask, why do you humans measure beauty by symmetry? Beauty is the same as ours." Rix paused for a moment. He thought of his own face. Heroes throughout human history, they all adhered to certain norms in the name of beauty. Perhaps it's not about falling in love with beauty, but about finding beauty in everything you love, Rix said. Then he added, "But I don't make a philosopher. I'm just a soldier." Zora continued, her pace sideways. "We'll see." At that moment, Rix realized for the first time why the Valkyrie Queen would give rise to an entire civilization. Intelligence, composure, and a subdued heart. But you still continue to test it with war, betrayal, and bloodshed. Astra 9 Station's diplomatic lounge was designed for peace, but in reality, it looked like something out of a satire magazine. One half of the room housed comfortably arranged chairs, coffee machines, and climate control humidifiers. The other half was occupied by Valkyrie's rotating gravity cushions, glowing moss cultivars, and psychic vibration bells. Commander Rix Garrow hesitantly took a glass of something called bionic algae-infused tea. The tea glowed as if something living were inside. He sipped. A subtle tingle passed through his mind. "This stuff numbed my tongue," he asked. "Zhara," replied in a serious tone. "Poison is the friend of the truth. Tea scratches the brain of a liar." Rix was stunned for a moment. Then he laughed. "So, you gave me truth serum." One of Zara's 3 eyes narrowed. "It increases diplomatic efficiency rates." The negotiations were tense, but progressing. But Rix noticed a document hidden on the protocol table. A digital trace that didn't belong to the human side. Zara watched him with her eyes but didn't comment. In the early morning hours, a message sneaked into Rix's room appeared on his screen. "Zara is in danger. Do not trust Severin, the Queen's closest confidant, Valkyrie's chief advisor." He seemed cold, methodical, yet absolutely loyal. Betrayal, or a game? Questions burned more fiercely in Rix's mind than tea. The night air of the Astra 9 station echoed not with the sound of stars but with system alerts. Commander Rix Garrow was still reeling from the message from his bedroom. "Zara is in danger," Do not trust Severin. The morning meeting was outwardly calm, but the tension in his eyes was even greater. Zara sat directly across from Rix, and her voice was remarkably even. But Rix noticed that one of her 3 eyes occasionally flicked to Severin. Was this a signal? After the meeting, Rix met with Zara in secret. It was arranged to appear casual, not official. They gathered among the moss in the astrobotanical greenhouse. I need to ask you a question, Rix said. Is your advisor, Severin, completely loyal to you? Zara smiled. Loyalty is a boring thing in our culture, but Severin does her job, no more. But sometimes, more dangerous than not doing too much is secretly doing too much. The Queen's expression softened for the first time. I'm worried what my people think of me. My leadership must not be shaken by emotion. But you are someone too, Zara, not just a crown. Behind your eyes lies a humanity suppressed for years. Or whatever you are. Zara bowed her head. In Valkyrie, Zara means carrying. Before and after becoming queen, I only carry burdens. That night, Rix reviewed the station's security camera. Backups. Severin had left the diplomatic guest area without permission. An organic chip-like object, unperched and unrecorded, lay beside her. Early the next morning, Rix sneaked into Zara's room. The Valkyrie guard at the door glared at Rix, but Zara said, "Let her enter." Rix held out the data crystal. Severin is sending false signals in your name, and that, according to Valkyrie protocol, is treason. Zara took the crystal in her hand. She watched. Silence. Then she whispered only one word. I will test it. This test would test both Zara's throne and Rix's loyalty, and it would reveal how far apart their worlds are, yet how close their hearts are. Astra 9 was a peacekeeping station, but that morning it felt like enemy territory. As Rix was walking to his morning shift, a ceiling panel suddenly shook, and the yellow emergency warning lights came on. Power loss, main engine partially disabled, shouted Technician Mera. But this wasn't a malfunction. Zara had conducted a simple yet profound test on Severin throughout the night. She had sent a coded signal and pretended to share protocol information that no one should have access to. Within 3 hours, Severin had leaked this information to a galactic encryption network. Zara immediately took action upon confirming this. But Severin had acted first. She had planted nanochips in the station's engine, room that would cause an energy crash and infiltrate the cerebral neural network. I told you not to touch him, Zara cried out quickly in the emergency meeting. We couldn't catch him. He used a coded rescue pod, Rix said, slamming his fist on the table. But he could still be on the station. Meanwhile, the station's security systems had been disabled. Rix and Zara were forced to manually activate a backup turbine. They entered a narrow damp energy tunnel and navigated the darkness. Queens don't open turbines, Zara said. Commanders don't bother with diplomatic assassinations either. But here we are, Zara laughed. It was the first laugh amidst the tension, but when they reached the turbine room, Severin appeared before them. He held a biodisruption trigger, a virus that, when released into the Valkyrie mental network beyond the station's borders, could desynchronize everyone's emotions. Zara, you abandoned your throne. You showed weakness. I tried to protect you, and you contaminate people, Severin said. I love my differences. That's my strength. You are a child of fear, Severin. Rix aimed his weapon, but Zara stepped forward. No, this is my decision. Zara issued a command in her Valkyrie neural synchronization voice. Severin's mind chips are neutralized, but this required a significant sacrifice of Zara's own mental capacity. Her blood vessels glowed brightly, and she was almost weak to the point of collapse. Rix held her, looking into her eyes. This is not your weakness. This is your courage. Severin was neutralized. The station was back under control. But Zara's mind was no longer the same. In the final scene, Zara and Rix sat together in the Valkyrie meditation chamber, in silence, without words. They built something, trust, and perhaps the rarest thing in the galaxy, the hope of a shared future. According to Valkyrie customs, Zara, like any leader who has experienced a mental conflict, was required to undergo a deep reflection. This meant a conversation of the mind with itself in the mirror chamber of memories. It would have lasted for days, but Zara had only hours. Rix did not leave her. He waited at the door of the meditation chamber. When Zara closed her eyes, Severin's voice and Rix's words echoed. "Can weakness also be strength?" Zara remembered the promise made to her upon her first accession to the throne. A Valkyrie leader carries the minds of his people, but can he also carry his own heart? When the meditation was complete, Zara swore a new oath. This was not the traditional Valkyrie oath. It was a human-like oath. "I will not fear. One choose. I can think, I can feel, and that makes me a leader." At the same time, Astronine was being restructured. A new Valkyrie Human Council was formed. Rix was eligible for an award from the Galactic Council, but she declined. "I'm just someone who wants to survive," she said. Zara, however, didn't give up her throne, but she agreed to take on a new advisor, Commander Rix. In the final scene, the two were aboard a space shuttle. They were heading to a new planet, to plant the first seeds of a new pact. Stars streamed through the window, and Zara muttered quietly, "Do you think this is the end of our story?" Rix smiled and replied, "No, my queen. This is just the first chapter, and we will write it together."